You have clearly prepared something for us that we can now get ready for. And I want participation at home. Don't just sit there watching me opening my vowels. You need to be involved as well at home. So say it out loud, say it proud, and practice your Portuguese pronunciation this morning.
Yeah, I was trying to see if I could see the ad to the Pampilhosa, but maybe Paul can help because Paul is also going to Pampilhosa de Serra. And while I'm speaking about pronunciation, maybe Paul, could you please send me the poster for Pampilhosa de Serra, and it
That'd
would
be
be
great.
easier because I can't find it now.
Okay.
So, yes, Pampilhosa de Serra, he says is the best place because Miguel is from Pampilhosa de Serra. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And he's right. He's right. For example, we are going to watch the stars in Pampilhosa de Serra. We are
Yeah.
having a guide to watch the stars. And it has been considered one of the best places in the world to see the stars. This
Wow.
is official. I'm not making it
Yeah,
up.
no, I get it. Of course not. There
So,
you go again, Portugal, with your modest contributions to world tourism and just the
yeah.
wonders of being alive, basically, and the miracles of existence are plentiful here in this country.
Yeah.
Amazing. Agree with you,
But
Miguel.
if you search walking weekend Pampilhosa de Serra, they have also the walking weekend .pt, the page, and you can see all the activities that we are having that weekend, including canoeing, stand-up paddle, traditional games, lots and lots of things.
Brilliant.
There are so many. We are walking in the river with a wetsuit.
What?
Yes, we are. We are going to walk one of the walks because we are going to have lots of walks. But it's not just walking like let's say a normal walking activity. We
Of
are
course not.
walking, but then in the middle we are stopping to do something else, including eating.
Of course, naturally.
And we have workshops. We visit villages. We have theater moments. We have many different activities. So
Wonderful.
it's a fantastic activity, the walking weekend in Pampilhosa de Serra. Yeah.
Sounds beautiful. And
Yeah.
and the email address trips for Brits with number 4 at gmail.com.
Yeah. Okay. So shall we start with the lesson?
Yes, because Deagle, look at this. Deagle's come back for this. Missed the middle bit of the show, but back for the best bit. He wants to. He wants
Yes.
to teach
No,
the
we
world.
haven't even started, and
We
it's
haven't
almost
started.
10 o'clock. So, so let's say that about the way you read the words, because last time we have focused on the letters, right? Some letters. Now let's focus on words. And to read the words, there is one very basic rule, which is if you have an accent, whenever you have an accent, that accent means this is the part of the word that has to be stressed. So, for example, I'm going to write a very simple one: café,
Yeah.
right? So, if you have that accent over the e, that means that you should say café. You don't say café, right? You say café. You stress the
Okay.
last part, right?
Yes, yes.
And our favorite, right? Our favorite is wait, this
Oh, yeah, here we go.
and this, right?
Yes.
So we have a vowel
Yes.
and a va. So again, two different accents, but you have to, although the accent gives a different pronunciation of the letter, but you have to stress at the end. So you say a vo, and
Avô.
and that hat over the o, the acento circunflexo,
Yeah.
that closes the vowel, so it must be o, right?
Oh.
Avô. And then the other accent, which is acento agudo, gives you an open vowel. So you open your vowel and
Yeah.
you say "oh," a
Avoir.
vowel, right?
Avoir.
So
Yes.
a vowel, a
Avoir.
vowel.
Avoir. And
That's
these are
right.
quite sort of graphic, aren't they? In as much as you can imagine little characters. The
Yeah.
first one with a little moustache.
Hmm.
Avoir.
Or a hat.
Avoir.
Or a
Yes,
hat.
with a little hat on. Yeah. And then
A
in
vowel
profile, a nice big open vowel there.
and a vowel. A vowel. Yeah.
Avoir. Avoir.
Then
And of course, we haven't said what they are and which is which. So this is grandma and granddad, isn't it?
yeah, a vowel with a hat is for granddad.
Granddad wears the hat. Okay,
And
very
then
good.
a
Yeah.
vowel is for grandmother.
Okay. And what
Then
about without? What about look, Antonio F is saying here? What about without the accent?
avu, that is avu, right?
Abu.
Because okay, that is because now I'm speaking about words with accents. Then without the accents, we come after this. We will speak about the words without the accent. But
Okay.
yes, you can have a vo, and avu. But let's focus on the accents. So, for example, you can have sufa. Sofa, you say sofa in
Yes,
English,
we
right?
do.
But because you have the accent on the A, so you have to stress the fa. So you say sufa, right? So
Super.
you have plenty of others like irmão,
Yeah.
maçã. This is also another one that sometimes people are a bit confused between apple and pasta, right?
Yes.
Maçã and
Yes.
massa.
Uh-huh.
Lápis, for example, for a pencil, or fácil, because of course the accents are not always at the end. So, for example, if you say fácil, easy, um, there's a feather, yes. So fácil has an accent on the first part of the word, but that means that you have to stress fa, right? So fácil.
Fácil.
So basic. When you see an accent, and that's why the accents are very important, because I know that sometimes you don't have an accent on your keyboard and you don't write
Well,
with an
yes.
accent, but
Yes.
the accents are quite important for you to know where the stress should be, right? So
Can I
if you
ask a
see an
question on
accent, yes, of course.
how annoyed do Portuguese people get when you don't put the accents on when you're communicating with them? I know it's going to vary from person to person, but sometimes I
Yes.
felt quite self-conscious that I've put ate amanhã. I did it with you yesterday. Ate amanhã. And I didn't have my keyboard. I've got various keyboards around the house. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Is it very annoying to receive words that should have accents on them that don't?
Well, yeah. Well, for example, you have the word manhã, manhã, not amanhã, but you have the word manhã with the accent, and you have the word without the accent, manhã, which has a very different meaning, completely different
Oh,
meaning. So,
okay.
as now with the vo and the vo and the avu, right? If you
Yeah,
don't have the accent, there is a different meaning. So
yeah.
sometimes the accent also, and I intended to speak about that at the, at the end. The words with an accent and without the accent, the same words, how they can be pronounced and what is the difference with the accent. But okay, so may I go on?
Of course you may. Well,
Okay.
before you do, we Halil Gulmush is here with a good morning from Usa.
Oh, hello, hello, Halil. Halil was the student that I used to call him the clever one because he was in my class in Turkey. Remember when I was in Turkey in March, and he was one of the students. Well, the teachers. He was a teacher, and he was my student. And because we had lots of fun, and sometimes I used to call him, "Oh, you are the clever one." So
Very nice. I'm glad he's glad to hear that this morning. So thank you for being here, Halil.
yeah.
That's great to see you. And Usak, hi, hello to Usak.
Our greetings to Ushak, yeah, to
Yes,
Turkey.
great stuff. Wonderful.
Okay, so as I said, first rule, accents, right? Then, second rule, uh, the general rule for know when you don't have any accent, like for example, the word leite for milk, right?
Yep.
What do? You have to split the word into syllables, into different sounds. In this case, leite. You have two
Right.
syllables, right?
Yep.
And you have to stress the first part. You have to say lay and then to, right? So you stress the one before the last. So
Yeah.
in this case, it's the first because it's just two. But in a longer word, like for example, let's say casaco, right? You split into three parts. You say casaco, and then you have to stress the middle one because it's the one before the last. So you
Yes.
say casaco for coat, casaco, right?
Well, then why do you not say sábado? Sabado.
Because you have an accent.
Ah!
Sábado.
I knew that really.
Sábado. Yes,
Yes.
that you are right. Lots of
Yes.
people say sábado
Yes.
because they don't put the accent on the A, right?
Yes.
So
Okay.
that's you are yes, you are 100% right. Lots of people say that because they don't put the accent, and if there is no accent, it would be sábado. Yes, it
Yeah.
would be,
Sábado. Okay.
but
Very
it's sábado because you have the accent,
sábado.
right?
Okay. Great.
Another mistake that lots of people do is, for example, when they have an M at the end,
Yeah.
and it's the plural of the verb, and because you in your English mind, in your English mind, the M is there to be pronounced, right? In
Yes.
your English mind.
Yes.
So you stress pra, right? You say compram, compram,
Yes.
compram.
Well,
No,
actually, you know, in the Algarve, I'm thinking somebody saying, "Hola, bon dia, compram."
compram. Yeah. Because you think of the M as an extra sound. No.
Yes.
You just split that into two parts. Com and prão. Prão, right? Prão.
Compram.
Prão.
Compram.
Au, 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 au.
Yeah.
Compram. So
Compram.
you have to stress the com. You have to say compram.
Very
Okay?
good.
Can you try it?
Compram.
Compram. Yeah.
Compram.
Falam.
Falam.
Very yes, very good. So because lots of people stress the end and they shouldn't because the M is not there. Lagos, yes,
Lagos.
Lagos, yeah, not
Yeah.
Lagos,
Lagos.
right? Lagos, yeah. So
Lagos.
every time you have a word without accents, the general rule, because I'm going to speak about the third rule, but the general rule is you stress the syllable, the sound that is before the last one, okay? Even if you have longer words, like, for example,
Well, we might have the one that
no,
Katia said.
not anticonstitucionalissimamente.
Not that one. Well
Not
done,
that.
Filomena.
No, but if you have, for example, completamente, you split the word completamente. So the stress must be in
The one before the last. Amen.
me, right?
Man.
Me.
Oh, yeah, because it's
Yeah,
miente.
Katia, yeah.
Woo.
So you have to say completamente. Min is
Completamente.
the stress. Completamente.
Completamente.
Completamente, right?
Yeah, it's like
Okay,
exactly.
so that is the general rule, the one before the last.
The law of the penultimate syllable.
The penultimate syllable. Yeah, I
think they
don't
did that.
I don't want to use such posh vocabulary because I want to keep it simple.
Can
The
you
one
imagine, though,
before the last.
at the Treaty of Windsor in 1386, Dom João I looked at King Richard II and said, "And now, by proclamation, we must talk of the penultimate syllabled declaration." And King Richard II said, "Why don't we just have dinner?" And I think they moved on at that point. Okay, so that is the law of the penultimate symbol. That's a
The
syllable.
penultima sílaba. Sim,
Ela.
penúltima sílaba. But,
Ah, continente.
uh, yes, that one is also continente,
Ne,
right?
ne,
Continente,
ne.
continente, right?
Exatamente, exatamente.
Continente.
Yeah,
So it's not continente, continente.
or continent.
That's right. And continente,
Continente.
continente as
That's
well.
the English continente. Yeah, don't stop it. Right.
No, continent.
Continente.
So, but because the Portuguese language has always exceptions, right? There are
Yes.
always lots of exceptions. So we have a few exceptions. We have words that, although they don't have an accent, but the pronunciation should be stressed at the end.
Okay.
And what are those words? The words that finish with an I, like, for example,
Oh, what was ending I? Oh, aqui, of
I,
course.
like
Yeah.
a key. You
Aqui.
don't say a key, you say a key.
You
Like,
don't.
like the past of the verbs, the past of the verbs with the I in the first person, in I. For example, comprei. You should say comprei. You don't say comprei, right? You say
Comprei.
comprei. So
Yeah.
you stress or for example, escrevi, I wrote. So comprei, I bought, escrevi, I wrote, etc. The past in the first person. So with the I, you stress the last part of the word. So eu comprei, eu escrevi, eu visitei, etc.
Okay.
Then you have also the u, the u, like also the past in comeu. He ate. So comeu. You say meu. The stress is on meu, not comeu. You have, for example, canguru, Peru, right? Peru.
Oh, it's Peru,
So
not Peru. Peru, of course.
Peru,
Yeah.
Peru. So you have the letter I or the letter U at the end of the word. You stress that part, and even if you have an S in the plural, for example, perus, you can have the S perus, but because it's a word with a U, then the plural also stresses the end. Kangaroo, Peru, kangaroos, perus. It's the stress at the end. Then we have other words that you know very well that is stressed at the end, like
Here we go. Ah, Leria.
lady. That's right.
Just met
So
a girl in Leria.
yeah,
Right.
the words that finish in ia, like the shops, lots of shops. You have padaria,
Padaria, pastelaria.
pastelaria,
Yeah.
mercearia,
Yeah. Talio.
sapateria,
Sapatia.
cafeteria, lots and lots of shops ending in ia, right? So those those words that finish with ia, you also stress at the end, although they don't have any accent, but it's at the end. Okay. Then we also have the words ending in I am, like again. And why? Why? Do you remember that I said that the M is there not to be pronounced as an M, right?
No, just to give you the
So
finishing sound.
it's
Jardim.
just the sound. So the sound is the I. The last sound is the I, but it's a nasal I. So it's
Jardim.
jardim,
Or sing.
jardim,
Sing as well, of course.
jardim, right?
Yeah, jardim.
So because the I is literal. Well, we can consider it the last sound, which is a nasal I. Well, it's again following the rule of the last letter being an I, and also with the like atum. right?
Atum, yes, like
Atum.
a tuna,
So
yeah.
because atum, if you consider the M is not there to be read as an M, the U is the last sound, but it must be a nasal right? Atum.
Atum.
Atum. So I or you at the end, or I am, or
Hell yeah.
you am at the end, or I a.
Yes.
Also, when
What?
you have
Boom, boom. What does that mean?
what? Boom
Like
boom.
boom, boom. Is that like boom,
Because
boom,
it's a
Brazil?
nasal
Boom, boom,
nasal sound.
boom, boom,
Boom boom.
boom,
Yeah.
boom. Okay, thank you.
But okay,
Sorry, Sarah.
let's not go there.
Let's not go into that. Okay.
So you have the words and I remember a few months a long time ago, I have spoken about the words that are very similar in Portuguese and in English. Remember, there are lots of words that are written the same way,
Mm,
but we don't pronounce them the same way.
yes.
So this is an example, or well, okay, very similar, because you say paper and you stress paper, and we say papel,
Papel.
papel, because the last letter is an L. You have to stress the last part, papel. Like, for example, azul, hospital, for example. You say hospital, so you write exactly the same, hospital, but you pronounce, you stress hos, and we stress tal, right?
Oh,
Hospital. So
hospital.
the L always has the stress at the end. Then the Z also. The Z is another letter that gives us the pronunciation, the stress at the end. So you have to say, by the way, last time we spoke about the Z at the end. How do you pronounce the Z at the end?
Feliz, like a sh sound.
Shh, that's
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Shh. The sound is not z, but the sound is sh, right?
Feliz aniversario.
Feliz.
Yeah.
Feliz aniversário, for example. Yes. So you say feliz. You stress leash, right? Feliz. Or rapaz, for
Rapaz.
example. Rapaz, boy. Rapaz. So the letter Z at the end, you stress also the last part of the word. And finally, but very, very important, if you have an R at the end, you stress that last part, okay? Um, Katia, yes, Katia, because it has an accent on the A, you say Katia, otherwise it would be Katia,
Tortilla.
Katia, it
Yeah,
would be Katia, but
that's
it's
right.
not Katia. Katia is a very speedy way of saying com a tia, with the aunt. That's another. Katia. Katia
Right.
is with the aunt, so no. But as I was saying, the R at the end, if you say any verb, but because
Falar.
you know that the names of the verbs, the infinitive, let's call it by the name, the infinitive of the verb, the name of the verb, always finish with an R. So you should stress the last part. For example, falar, comprar, visitar, mostrar, etc. So you always stress the last part of the verb, the word, because it finishes with an R. Okay.
Falar. Yeah, okay.
So any verb. And you don't do that if you conjugate the verb, right? Because you say falar, you stress lar. But then if you say I speak, you should say falo. Eu falo, right? Katia is very annoying, yes. Not with the auntie. No, not with the auntie. So um, if you conjugate the verb, as I was saying, if you say eu falo, tu falas, ele fala, nós falamos, you also have to change the stress to the middle, falamos, eles falam. You have to stress fa, falam.
Okay.
But The infinitive, the name of the verb, is just falar, the stress at the end. So this is the essential rules of the words with the stress, the words without the stress, and the words that they don't have a stress, but they have a particular letter at the end, and then you should stress the end.
I will
So-
make a segment of these rules. It's been fantastic, this last little section. We won't be doing a phone in today. We've run into the Iberian FM phone in, but for good reason this morning.
So
That's another example.
can we focus now on the same word with the accent and without the accent?
Yes, definitely. As in avo, avo, and
avo, yeah.
avo. Yes,
So, okay. So, well, okay. That comment about nós,
It's just
you
getting a
can also
flashback.
have an accent, and we can with the accent and without the accent, and it means different things.
Oh,
We can
really?
also,
Okay.
yes.
Yeah.
Well, so I have already written esta versus está, right?
Está.
So esta, if you see, you don't have any accent, right? Can you put both words on the screen, please? Okay, thank you. So esta, there are two syllables, esta. There are no accents, so the rule is you stress the first part because it's the one before the last, right? If you stress that part, you say esta, esta. It means this in the feminine form. You can say, for example, esta garrafa, this bottle, esta garrafa. But if you say está, it has that accent over the A, so it doesn't matter how many syllables we have in the word. All it matters is that we have an accent. So that accent makes you pronounce ta with more stress. So it's está. That means is. Usually is. It can be also you are, but let's say está can be in general is. For example, hoje está lindo dia. Today is a beautiful day, right? So está usually is translated by is. So that is, let's go to the one that was on the comment before with nos versus nós.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, in that case, nos, you don't have an accent, and so you pronounce the o at the end is always pronounced like u, and in this case is the plural. It takes an s, so you just say another s, nos, the sh at the end of the s. So nos. But on the other hand, on the other word with the accent, you have an accent. That accent, as I said, opens the vowel. So you have to say nós, right? So nos and nós. Nos means in the or at the something in the plural. For example, you can say nos carros, in the cars, nos carros, or nos restaurantes, at the restaurants. So the nos is em plus os together. Okay.
Okay.
So nos is actually it's two words coming together. Is em plus os. So it can be translated sometimes in the, sometimes at the, even on the, sometimes. But is nos. Nós means we. Mm-hmm. Okay, means we. This nos can also be us. It can also be, for example, if we have a verb, we say a verb reflexo, a reflexive verb. You do something to yourself. For example, we can say we wash ourselves, right. And then it's going to be nós lavamos-nos. Nós lavamos-nos.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Nós lavamo-nos, that means we wash us. We wash ourselves.
Yes.
So that nos can be two different things.
What
But
is nom de plume saying here then? What is
okay,
nosh
nós
nosh?
and nós. The pronunciation is exactly the same. In
Okay.
that case, the pronunciation is exactly the same. Nós and nós, but nós with an accent and an S is we,
Yes.
and nós with an O and a Z, which is read, the Z and the S are read the same way at the end, right?
Yeah.
So nós is a nut, is
Nuts. Yes. Yeah.
a chest, no, a walnut,
So she's almost saying we are nuts there, I think. Right?
yes.
That would be nauseous, wouldn't it?
Nós. Yeah,
Yes.
nozes in the
Nauseous,
plural.
nauseous,
Nozes.
nauseous.
But we don't say that in Portuguese. It doesn't have that meaning.
Good. I'm
Right.
glad. Right.
But yes, so for example, another example that I have here for you to see the difference. For example, the difference between público and público.
Oh,
You
yeah.
can have público, so you have 3 syllables, cu, and you have to stress the middle one because you don't have any accent. If you can put it on the screen, it's better maybe. Okay, thank you. So público, so you say público, you stress bli, but then if you have an accent on the u, so then you have to say público. So
Público.
público.
That's the newspaper, isn't it? The Público.
Yes, it's the name of the newspaper. Yes,
Yeah.
público is the audience. It's or something public. It can also be público.
Yes.
So if you say o público is the audience, and uma escola pública is a public school.
Right.
Público, that is I publish. I publish something,
Okay. Yes.
right?
Yes.
So because the o in a verb, público is a verb, and
Yeah.
the o in a verb in the present means I, right? It's always I. So if you want to say I speak, you say falo, I speak with an O at the end. Compro, I buy. Visito, I visit, etc. So the O at the end is I. This is I publish. Publico versus público. Another one that sometimes people don't pronounce correctly is okay, the secretaria and secretária, right? Secretaria, if you don't have an accent, secretaria, you see that there is the IA at the end. And because there is an IA, you stress the end, right? You say secretaria. But if you have an accent on ta, then you have to say secretária. So secretaria, secretária. Secretaria is the office. So, for example, you go to the town hall and you have to go to the office is secretaria. And secretaria can be a secretary and can also be a desk.
Interesting. It's never occurred to me before that secretary is secret. It's the person who keeps the secrets of the office, isn't it?
Yeah, secretaria, the secretary, or the desk. Secretaria can also mean the desk.
Yes.
And the secretaria is the place where you go to take care of some paperwork.
Amazing. Wow.
Okay. Any questions, Carl?
That has been intense again and deeply informative. So thank you, Mrs. M, for the incoming coffee. I need that now. That's been amazing. We'll make a segment of that as a language and pronunciation intensive. Thank you so much, Filomena, for that. I think that people have submitted and surrendered to the process of Portuguese pronunciation again this morning at your hands. So thank you so much for that. It's wonderful.
it's not very hard, as Katia also sometimes says. Portuguese is not as hard as people sometimes believe. It's just a question of knowing how, right? Knowing how to read,
Yeah,
knowing, and then if you pronounce things correctly, in my opinion. Although, for example, Tabitha, I have seen her opinion saying that the pronunciation for her is not very important, but I think pronunciation is crucial. I think it's very, very important because, as you can see, even if you don't pronounce correctly, it can have a different meaning, right? So,
yeah.
and people don't understand sometimes if you don't pronounce it correctly. People, even if they make an effort, they don't understand. They don't recognize the word, right?
Yes, no,
Um,
totally, and I think it's good to emphasize that point. It doesn't help to just keep saying how difficult it is. I mean, I think a more useful
no.
analogy might be to say it's like going out for a walk, isn't it? It's not a walk in the park. It's not a 100-meter dash. It's an interesting walk. There are parts that are uphill. There are parts that are downhill. There are parts where you disappear into the trees. There's an open bit where you look out at a lovely view. It's a walk. It's a wander, and if we see it as an adventure rather than a challenge, I think it will be so much more helpful.
Hmm. Yeah.
And
Well, I
it's
have just forward to you. Thank you, Paul. The poster for the walking weekend in
oh,
Pampilhosa da
tremendous.
Serra. If
Thank
you
you.
can show that, please.
Definitely, yeah. I'll save that and bring that up onto the screen. We've got a few. Let's do that. Let's finish with a few events and then go to a couple of dad jokes, which would be nice, visual and linguistic as well. Because of course, a lot of the dad jokes rely on punnery, don't they, and different meanings of words. Agreed. Just learn the rules and you're good. Says Nom de Plume. And Portuguese is not difficult. It is involved, learnable, and has rules to follow. And I
Any
suppose that's
language. Any
yeah.
language has rules to follow.
If you don't like rules, that's the problem, I suppose, isn't it? But if you learn them and follow them, it's gonna be a great help. So thank you very much. Thank you, Paul, as well. Much appreciated. We've got quite a few lovely things to share on the screen now, so let's do that. And let's begin with your wonderful poster of Pampilhosa da Serra. And here it is now. So that's the walking weekend. Nice poster there. And 70 euros all in, which will include the food and all those lovely different aspects of walking in Pampilhosa da Serra that you mentioned before. If you didn't see that, watch the replay or just download the poster to take a screenshot or head
Yes,
over. I'm sure if you,
you can go to the site walkingweekend.pt and you
yeah,
can see everything
there you
about it.
go.
Yeah.
Well, they've put a lot of work into that. That looks like a fantastic event. So thank you very much, Paul and Filomena, on that. We've got pictures from, look, this is great,
Ah,
isn't it? The
fantastic.
horse there.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is wonderful. Thank you, Owen, for these. Oh, look, someone's jumping there. Superb. Lovely. They're going to be having a great weekend there in Ponte Lima at the horse fair there. Let's see what else is going on in the Barrada district this weekend. We've got a soup festival, Filomena.
Who would know?
Right, that's in Anadia this weekend. I wonder how many of these will be soup festivals. There's another walk. That's in aid of cancer research and charity there in Agada. That's an interesting word to pronounce, isn't it? Agada.
Also with an accent on the A. That's why you
Yes,
pronounce Agda. Otherwise,
Agada.
it would be Ageda.
I can't believe it. It was one of the first live streams I did from a town, and I'm sure I said back in those days, I'm in Agada.
Oh, God.
Oh God,
Oh,
absolutely.
God.
It's still on the internet somewhere.
Agda.
Agada, yeah, the place of the umbrellas, of course, isn't it, Agada?
Yes,
Classic
yes. Mhm.
bicycle event and lunch there.
Of
Where's that?
course, lunch can. I mean,
It
it
goes without
has to
saying,
be.
doesn't it?
It
It
has
goes
to
without
be.
saying. Oliveira de Bairro, Vila da Mamorosa, as in the Bairrada area there. These are all from the Gumper map, which you can get to via goodmorningportugal.com. And please feel free to become a contributor in your area as well. Everybody, let everyone know what's happening. Bike show this weekend as well. Join the bikers of Bairrada there too. Free water sport and other activities in Vagos, in Aveiro there, and Sardine and Pork Festival. That's a different. I've not heard of one of those before, but it's sardine season is upon us. Sardinha
Sardine is the best months are now May, June mainly is the best months to eat sardine.
coming right up. Festa of the Quinta da Gala there in Festas em honra de Santuário de Fátima. There at where is that one? That's not far from Luis Pato's famous winery. That's worth a visit as well. So there you go, super little festival in this smashing little hamlet not far from Luis Pato's place. Here, the winemaker. New Dynamic Commission. We are hosting this afternoon, evening of fun and frivolity in the always popular multicultural village of Palhaça, with its South American Latino flavor. So a festival in Palhaça with some South American vibes going on there. Walk and party in Bustos by Rada. And finally from Andy, thank you so much for these caminhadas. Free guided walks of Meliada, and Meliada, of course. If you're having food there, it's very likely to be Leitão or Leitois over there. That's the Golden Mile. On a Sunday, the coaches come from all over Portugal, don't they, Filomena, to eat the suckling pig.
And in the walking that we are having in Miranda on the 4th of June, I will send you the poster later. We will have a porco no espeto.
Yes.
No porco no espeto.
Very good. The pork on a skewer.
Spit.
On a spit, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So a spit roast, yeah.
Grilled.
Absolutely.
Yeah, a big one. A big one.
Oh, okay.
Not a little one like in Mielada, but a big one.
Proper one, a big one.
Proper
Okay. All right.
And caldo verde as well. Caldo verde, porco no espeto. Yeah.
Okay. Well, talking of maps, that's what Sarah's saying there. The rules are your map, and learning a language is not a marathon, but a day trip. Sometimes you get lost, but it's all part of the fun. Yes, take a packed lunch with you. Well, lunch is always included, of course, in Portugal. And let's have a look at this visual dad joke first then. Someone stole all the lamps from my room. Are you mad? No, I'm delighted. As in mad angry that I saw. Okay, I got that. And when I sent a message to you yesterday, I think it was I was talking about the language that I was doing with you today, Filomena, and Katia yesterday. It was dois dias de deleitar, of delight. Was that a correct use of the word of deleitar?
You sent me a message yesterday?
Well, I was just saying it might not have been to you, but I was making an alliteration of dois dias de deleitar of Portuguese learning. So that's 2 days of delight.
Dois dias de deleitar?
Yes.
Maybe dois dias de delight. Delight, maybe.
All right. But then that's like a meia delight. Anyway, let's not get into that right now. Okay. Let's go for a final dad joke as we come up to 10:30. An extended version of the Good Morning Portugal show to include all that wonderful Portuguese pronunciation. And let's finish with the lovely dad jokes. Cheers, T-Duck, for these. I went to a vegan restaurant once. Wait, no, it was just a florist's. Okay, the hardest 5 days after the weekend. Sorry, the first 5 days after the weekend are the hardest. That's that right up, didn't I? But you get the gist. And you know what, Filomena? Until they invented the other side of Velcro, it never really caught on. Okay, enough.
Yeah, no, it's okay. No, they're good, they're good.
Thank you so much. Muito obrigado. Bom fim de semana.
Bom fim de semana. Divirtam-se.
What's that mean? Have fun.
Have fun. Yeah. Divirtam-se.
Friday.
It's been a good one, and thanks
Beijinhos
to Owen.
a todos.